Sarah loved the sound of English. Even when she was a little girl, she liked listening to English cartoons and songs. She didn't understand the words, but she liked how English sounded. It was soft, musical, and exciting. She dreamed of speaking English one day. She imagined herself talking to people from other countries, maybe traveling, maybe telling stories. But there was one big problem. Every time she tried to speak, her voice froze. At school, she had a bad memory. One day, she answered a question in English. She made a small mistake. Some classmates laughed. It wasn't a big laugh, but to Sarah, it felt painful. From that day, she became quiet in English class. She didn't want to try again. She felt afraid. She thought, what if I sound silly again? What if people laugh? So she stopped speaking, even though she still loved English. Years passed. Sarah still read books and listened to English songs, but she never spoke. Speaking made her nervous. She wanted to say something, but the words stayed in her head. They didn't come out of her mouth. It felt like her thoughts were locked in a box, and the key was missing. One evening, something small changed everything. Sarah was looking at videos online. She found one with the title, Shadowing Practice for English Fluency. She didn't know what shadowing meant, but she clicked on it. The teacher in the video had a kind voice. He said, "Repeat after me." Sarah didn't move at first. She was unsure. But then, slowly, very softly, she whispered the first sentence. "I am learning to speak English." Her voice was quiet. It shook a little, but she said the words. And when she finished, she smiled. Just a small smile, but a real one. That one sentence was the beginning of something new. The next day, she played the video again. This time, her voice was a little louder. She repeated the same sentence. She didn't care if it wasn't perfect. She just wanted to speak. After a few days, she started looking forward to these moments. Shadowing became her special time every evening, a time when she could speak without fear. Sarah wanted to practice more, so she wrote short, kind sentences on small pieces of paper. She used sticky notes and placed them all over her room. On the mirror, she wrote, "Your voice is brave." On her door, "You can speak." On her desk, "Try one sentence today." These little notes helped her feel stronger. Each morning, Sarah looked in the mirror. She chose one sticky note and said the sentence out loud. She looked into her own eyes and said, "I can do this." Sometimes she smiled. Sometimes she felt shy. But she always spoke, every single day. Speaking was still hard, but it was not impossible anymore. She started to believe that her voice mattered. She wasn't speaking for others. She was speaking for herself. Sarah didn't tell anyone about her practice. It was her own quiet journey. No one knew that she repeated sentences every day. No one saw the sticky notes in her room. But inside her heart, something was growing. A little light, a little courage. She didn't know if she would ever be fluent, but she knew one thing for sure. She had started, and that was enough for now. Her journey began with a whisper, a soft voice in a quiet room. But that whisper was powerful because it meant she was trying. And when you try, you grow. For anyone learning English, The first step is not perfect grammar or big words. The first step is simply speaking. One sentence. One small whisper. That's how it begins. And for Sarah, that first whisper changed everything. Sarah continued her daily practice. Every day after breakfast, she sat with her notebook and wrote a few simple sentences in English. She wrote about her day, her thoughts, and sometimes just her feelings. At night, she opened the same shadowing video and listened to the teacher's voice. She repeated each sentence carefully. She did it again and again, slowly, gently, and with focus. Speaking was still not easy, but she was getting better. Soon, Sarah wanted to hear her own voice. She started recording herself. The first time she listened, she felt strange. Her voice sounded different. Her words were not perfect. Some parts were hard to understand. She almost deleted the recording, but instead, she saved it and wrote the words, Day 1. Be brave on the file name. That was her way of saying, it's okay, I'm learning. Every night, she made a new recording. Some were just 1 minute long. Others were longer. She talked about what she learned, what she liked, or what made her tired that day. Little by little, her voice became stronger. She was not just copying the video now. She was learning how to express her own thoughts in English. Sarah also created something she called a voice diary. In this diary, she spoke instead of writing. She recorded a short message each night, like today I cooked dinner. It was tasty. Or, I studied for 1 hour. I feel proud. It was simple English, but it was real. It was her voice, her progress. After a few weeks, Sarah listened to one of her early recordings again. She couldn't believe the difference. Her voice had changed. She spoke more clearly, more naturally. She didn't sound like a beginner anymore. This small discovery made her cry happy tears. She had proof that she was improving. Later, Sarah found an online group of English learners from different countries. There were people from India, Brazil, Turkey, and many other places. They shared their learning stories, questions, and videos. At first, Sarah was nervous to write in the group. She typed her sentences slowly. She checked her grammar many times. But finally, she posted a message. To her surprise, someone replied, "Wow, your English is great. Keep going." That short message made her smile. It gave her hope. It reminded her that even small steps matter. To stay organized, Sarah made a weekly plan. On Mondays, she did shadowing for 15 minutes. On Tuesdays, she recorded a voice diary. On Wednesdays, she practiced speaking in front of the mirror. On Thursdays, she joined a group call or watched a conversation video. Fridays were for fun, watching a movie scene and repeating the lines. On the weekend, she reviewed her mistakes or did free speaking. This routine helped her stay focused. It also made learning English feel like part of her life, not just something she had to do. She started thinking in English during her walks. She used simple English words in her thoughts, like turn left or I need to buy milk. It became natural. Sarah also gave herself small rewards. After 7 days of practice, she bought a little treat, maybe a chocolate bar, a new pen, or a nice walk in the park. These small gifts made her feel proud. She was not waiting for a teacher to say, "Good job." She was giving herself kindness. One day, Sarah saw a new word in a video: expression. It meant showing your thoughts or feelings. That's what she was doing now. She wasn't just learning English. She was expressing herself in English. The journey still had hard days. Sometimes she was tired. Sometimes she forgot a word. But now, she didn't feel scared. She felt strong. She was building a habit. She was breaking the wall of silence. Sarah understood something important. Learning English is not about being perfect. It's about being brave. It's about trying again and again. It's about finding your voice and using it. Her voice was no longer hiding. It was growing. It was becoming part of her. And with every new sentence, every new recording, she moved one step closer to the English speaker she dreamed of becoming. Sarah's English was getting better. Her voice sounded more confident. She could speak more clearly now. But she still felt nervous when speaking with real people. One Friday evening, her online English group had a voice call. Everyone was welcome to join. Sarah looked at the screen. She saw the join button. Her hands were cold. Her heart was beating fast. She waited for 5 minutes. Then she whispered to herself, "You've come this far." And she clicked. "Hi, I'm Sarah," she said quietly. There was a short silence. Then someone replied, "Hi, Sarah. Nice to meet you." Their voice was friendly. Sarah felt a small wave of relief. She answered a few simple questions. She talked about her favorite food and hobbies. When she said the word vegetable the wrong way, someone laughed kindly. She laughed too. It was okay to make mistakes. That night, something changed inside her. She didn't feel as afraid anymore. After that call, Sarah wanted to keep practicing real conversations. Every day, she stood in front of the mirror and spoke in English. She pretended to be in a coffee shop. She said, "Can I have a cappuccino, please?" Then she pretended to ask for directions. "Excuse me, how do I get to the train station?" She repeated these lines many times. Her mouth moved more naturally. Her pronunciation improved. Sometimes, when walking outside, she thought in English. She even started dreaming in English. Then came a difficult moment. Sarah had to take a speaking test. She had studied hard. She had practiced every day. But during the test, she became nervous. She forgot her words. Her voice was shaky. She failed the test. That evening, Sarah cried. She felt disappointed. "I thought I was ready," she said. She felt like giving up. But the next morning, she opened her notebook. On a clean page, she wrote, "I will try again." She didn't quit. She practiced even harder. She went back to shadowing. She recorded her voice again. She joined more calls. She listened to native speakers and repeated after them. She worked on stress and intonation. Her English became more natural. One day, her teacher said, "Your progress is amazing." Sarah smiled. She felt proud. Then she had an idea. She wanted to share her journey. She started a small YouTube channel. Her first video was simple. She spoke slowly and honestly. "I was scared too," she told her viewers. She talked about her fear, her first whisper, her mistakes, and her growth. people started watching. They left comments like, "You give me hope," and "Thank you. I'm also afraid to speak." These messages made her happy. She realized something important. She was not just learning English. She was helping others too. One day, Sarah received a special email. She was invited to join a student exchange program in Canada. It was a big opportunity, but she was afraid. "Is my English good enough?" she thought. She almost said no. Then she remembered her first whisper, the sticky notes, the voice recordings, the mirror practice, and all the nights she didn't give up. She took a deep breath and replied, "Yes." On the plane to Canada, she practiced small conversations. She imagined talking to the flight attendant. "Coffee or tea?" she said softly. When the real question came, she answered, "Tea, please," with a smile. Her host family in Canada was very kind. At dinner, she told them stories about her country. She asked questions and answered theirs. She made friends from many places. At school, she gave a short speech in English. Her hands were shaking, but her voice was strong. When she finished, everyone clapped. Her teacher said, "You've come so far." Sarah nodded. Her eyes were bright. She remembered the very first sentence she spoke. "I am learning to speak English." Now she could say, "I speak English, and I love it." Sarah's journey did not end there. She continued learning. She continued helping others. She created a small club online called the First Whisper Club. In this club, learners could share the first sentence they ever spoke in English. It was a place of kindness, support, and courage. Every video she posted ended with the same words: "Your voice matters. Speak and let the world hear you." And many people did, because Sarah's whisper had become a voice, and her voice became a light for others. Sarah's journey began with a small whisper, just one sentence spoken in a quiet room. At first, she was scared. She thought her voice wasn't good enough. She was afraid to make mistakes. But she didn't give up. She kept trying. Day by day, she practiced. She listened, she repeated, she recorded, and she spoke. Slowly, her fear started to fade. Slowly, her confidence began to grow. She found her own way to learn. She used sticky notes with kind messages. She wrote in a notebook. She recorded a voice diary. She joined online groups. She created her own speaking schedule. And when she failed her speaking test, she didn't stop. She told herself, "I will try again." And she did. Sarah's dream was not only to speak English. Her dream was to feel free, to express herself, to connect with others. And through shadowing, practice, and bravery, she reached that goal. She even shared her story with the world through her videos. She inspired people. She reminded others that it's okay to be scared. What matters is that you speak anyway. In the end, Sarah didn't just become a better English speaker. She became a stronger, more confident person. She learned how to face her fear, how to grow, and how to help others on the same path. She proved that real learning is not about being perfect. It's about being brave enough to begin and patient enough to continue. The lesson from Sarah's story is simple. Your voice matters, even if it shakes, even if it's small. even if you make mistakes. When you speak, you grow. When you try, you win. So no matter where you are on your English journey, remember this: your voice is your power. Use it. Now, congratulations! You have just improved your English listening and understanding by following Sarah's full story. You didn't just listen, you felt the story. You practiced and you learned. That is something to be proud of. Let's have a quick question to check how closely you followed the story. What helped Sarah gain confidence in speaking English? A. She memorized long grammar rules. B. She practiced shadowing and spoke every day. Comment your answer A or B below. I'd love to see what you think. If you enjoyed this story and it helped you, please subscribe to this channel. It really supports us and helps us create more free content like this for you. Also, if you feel thankful and want to support us, you can consider donating to help us continue this work. In the beginning, it's very hard to keep the channel running and make high-quality English learning content. But we do it for free for you because we believe in your growth. Thank you so much for listening. Keep learning, keep speaking, and always believe in your voice.